list.
That he gave me the list. I said to him, I conveyed the message of the prosecutor, and he conveyed to me he has no recollection of having given us or given me a list.
Okay. I guess let me leave it there for now. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. I would like us to consider, in relation to the issues under discussion now, the position you assumed before the ad hoc committee. And for that purpose, I would like to refer you to file 3. And in particular, if we could go to page 559. That is CJC 375, which starts at 523. That's a transcript of your testimony before the ad hoc committee.
Sorry, Counsel, you want me to go to page?
559. Now, let's start, it's not numbered, the lines, but you see the line that reads the committee adjourned for lunch.
That is correct.
I want to pick it up from there. Advocate Arendse says to you, we are dealing with a referral by Mr. Adams in terms of section 27. You said that apart from seeing him on television screen, you do not know him at all. You say that is correct. You did not receive the referral yourself when it was received by IDEC. That is correct. What is the date of that referral? The second week of November 2024. So before ad hoc, you suggested that you didn't receive the referral affidavit from Mr. Adams. The last 2 days before the commissioners here, you indicated that you received it and you actually triggered an internal process resulting in a section 2813 application for a preliminary investigation.
Correct.
The two are contradictory. Which is the true position? Is it what you stated to the ad hoc committee or what you are stating to this commission?
I took the question at the time to mean that I received it from Mr. Adams. That is why I prefaced it as I did by not knowing him. My office did receive the section 27. That is the position. I received a section 27 deposed to by Mr. Adams and dated the 21st of November 2024.
But how could you so understand when Mr. Arendse's question is very direct? You did not receive the referral yourself when it was received by IDEC. That's the question.
I did receive the referral.
And your answer to the ad hoc committee is, that is correct, I did not receive it.
That's what I took it to mean. That I did not receive it from Mr. Adams, but I did receive the referral.
Where then did you receive it from?
The referral, when it came in an envelope to IDEC, to the officers, through the nominal document receival process, and then it was submitted to my office.
Okay. So you received it from IDEC. That's what you wanted to clarify to Mr. Arendse. Didn't receive it directly from Mr. Adams by hand, you received it from IDEC.
Correct.
Okay, your engagement doesn't go that far. But let's move on. Yes.
Are you leaving that page?
I am not. I'm staying with the page.
No, let me leave you to do.
All right. Now, the second leg of your engagement with Mr. Arendse on this issue, towards the bottom of that page, Mr. Arendse says, you are not aware of Mr. Adams also referring this matter to the National Commissioner of Police, the National Commissioner or the Minister. You say, no, not at all. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
But we know after our engagement yesterday that MK16 tells us otherwise. Your entire basis for being persuaded by the referral is precisely because you said these issues had been raised with the minister. The minister or the minister's office had purported to refer this matter to you in terms of section 27. We had quite a lengthy engagement, and you too, with the commissioners about what was the complaint to the minister, we suggested that it related to interference and interception. You insisted that it related to what is contained in the section 27. Going with your understanding, then it can be correct that you did not know that he had complained to the minister, because we know our annexure MK16, which you confirmed you received, and you responded to, although you don't quite recall in what terms, tells us otherwise.
That is correct. At the time, I did not recall receiving anything from the office of the minister.
So why didn't you say, no, when did you say, I don't recall? You definitively say, no, not at all.
Not at all. Correct.
So what was ad hoc to believe? What if ad hoc believed that statement? You intended for ad hoc to rely on that statement.
That is correct. I did not recall remembering, that's stupid English. I did not recall receiving that from the office of the minister.
Yes, Commissioner, comment.
You see, Advocate Johnson, your testimony yesterday was that IDEC received the minister's letter, and the minister's letter was unhelpful. And you instructed Perumal to get an affidavit from Adams. Now, that's completely different to what you said to the ad hoc, because the impression you are creating here is that it is Adams who came to IDEC and this thing landed on IDEC's desk, when in fact yesterday we agreed that based on the minister's letter, or rather the letter from the minister's office, it is IDEC that reached out to Mr. Adams. So which is which now? Because here it's Mr. Adams who's coming to IDEC, but yesterday you were quite clear that it's the minister who came to IDEC. The letter from the minister was not helpful. You then instructed Perumal to reach out to Adams, and that's how the Section 27 affidavit came about.
That is the correct position, Commissioner Khumalo. When I say that Mr. Adams came to IDEC, it is Mr. Adams who wanted IDEC to deal with his matter. But the position, as I indicated yesterday, is the position of having first received a letter from the minister. I did indicate that there were no attachments. I therefore asked Mr. Perumal to please engage Mr. Adams, as Mr. Adams wanted IDEC to deal with his matter.
So, and then the last engagement on that page, your response to the ad hoc gives the impression that Mr. Adams's referral landed on your desk in the middle of December 2024. Now that cannot be correct, because on the 6th of December, you gave the authorization, the Section 28 sub 13 authorization. So it cannot be correct that the referral landed on your desk in the middle of December 2024. Because that is the question. Advocate Arendse says, after the referral in November, when did the matter land on your desk and what work would have been done on it? So the question, although it's 3 questions in one, it is specific. When did the matter land on your desk? And your response is, at the time I received it, it would have been the middle of December 2024. That was incorrect, what you told the
This is incorrect, yes.
Because already by the 6th of December, you had had engagement not just with Perumal, but also with the prosecutor.
That is
because you would have, by the 6th of December already, looked at the application from the prosecutor and formed a view that you are going to authorize investigation into those 12 people that we mentioned earlier.
That is correct, Commissioner Khumalo.
Thank you.
But the question is, why did you say to the ad hoc committee that you received the Section 27 in the middle of December? Why would you say that?
At the time, Commissioner Baloy, that was my recollection. In coming to
sorry.
In coming to this commission, I had to offer myself properly with all of the facts. I'm not saying that the ad hoc was not important. I didn't go through all of this detail with my team when I went to ad hoc.
But you would have prepared to go to ad hoc. I mean, I suspect they will be deeply offended if they are to understand you to mean you went to that committee without preparing and looking at your records on this matter. So I must assume that you prepared when you went there. You knew what the issues were. There are terms of reference as in the question. Question is, who gave you these names? They're not in the affidavit. We can look at it for the next hour. You will not find the names in 4 up to 12. Somebody gave them to you. Who gave you these names? And under what circumstances?
This application came to me from the prosecutor.
So Ms. Ramsame will have to tell us where she got these names from.
That would be correct.
Okay.
Did you inquire from her where she got the names from when you know that you only gave her the Section 27 affidavit and you are quite familiar with it?
Yes,
do you engage and say, who are these ones now? Where do they come in? How do they come in? They are not in the affidavit. You are not conducting an investigation yet, so you are not obtaining your own evidence. Where do these names come from? Did you have that engagement with her?
I didn't have that.
Why not? Shouldn't you have? Because from what you are suggesting, it's like she looked at those 3 names and said, no, 3 is not a good number, I prefer 12, and start like somarkhoying other names in there. And you signed, and you are happy with that. How come?
As I indicated, according to me, she only had the 27.
Yes.
And she would have then put together the 28.
Yes.
Yes.
Which we're looking at.
Yes.
And you know the 27 doesn't contain the names from 4 to 12.
That is correct.
So why do you sign it in the form that it is, where suddenly it includes a litany of other people who are not mentioned in 27 affidavit?
Where is that? Sorry. Counsel, you refer to only the first 4?
The first 3.
The first 3.
Yes.
And sorry, Commissioner Baloy, that I'm now a bit slow. I don't intend taking the whole afternoon to.
Well, I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm
trying to figure out how she would have arrived at the names because their official capacities mentioned, but the names are not mentioned. I take the point.
You accept that it is not from the Section 27 affidavit that she got the names.
Yes.
You accept that someone must have, if they come from her, someone must have given her these names.
Correct.
Yes.
And I will find out.
And you accept that at this point when she approaches you with this application, the investigation hasn't started yet. You gave her the affidavit, she looked at it and she came back to you and said, we need to have a preliminary investigation. So you accept at this point there's no investigation yet.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
My challenge is this, Advocate Johnson. You are authorizing an investigation into 8 people who are not mentioned in the singular document you have. They are not referred to you. There's no complaint regarding them. But you are authorizing an investigation into them. In terms of what section are you acting in so doing?
A conversation must have happened.
With who? That's the question.
With Advocate Ramsamy.
No, she's not conversing by her soul self. Who is she conversing with?
What I'm saying is she and I must have had a conversation.
Oh, so you are aware of them?
I'm saying she and I must have had a conversation and I will follow that up because I don't have an independent recollection of a conversation. And she would have to indicate then if she had a conversation with somebody else. I wouldn't just have blindly signed it without finding out from her.
Did you perhaps suggest these names to her?
No, these are not people I know.
can I say that the difficulty is that you don't seem to abide the terms of this section 27. Even if she proposes the names to you, you are the final decision maker. You're the in charge. You're the one that's authorizing an investigation. It's difficult to conceive of a situation where she comes back to you and she gives you a list of names and you don't say, no, we can't do that because it doesn't arise from this affidavit. We haven't started an investigation, so I know you didn't get those names from an investigation. I know you didn't do that. We have at this point only this affidavit, and you don't say, we are obliged to work with what we've got. We can't do whatever we feel like. It's difficult to understand that you would be party. If this is her giving, she gave you these names, that you are happy to sign off a truly invasive investigation because your powers to hear evidence means you can call these people, you can look into their affairs. That's what it means. And you do it outside the corners of the only document you have on which you could work with. You, the head, are not in a position, and you do not say to your prosecutor that we are not doing that. We are bound by law, we are bound by rules to investigate that which is properly given to us. It's a misuse of powers, whether it comes from her or from you. At this stage, this is a misuse of powers. To take intrusive steps and action against people on this affidavit, you have no justification whatsoever on this affidavit to be looking into Likalakala, Ngube Moyani Sibula, Madileng, Mukwele even, by name, Duvalo, whoever is automotive engineer. You have absolutely no legitimate and valid basis to look into them. Maybe there is something to look at later on, but we are still at this affidavit stage where you are authorizing that they be called in, that their affairs, their bank statements be looked into, and their lifestyles and everything and about them. And they must come to interviews under threat of, if you do not cooperate, it's a criminal offense. You're happy to do all of that, when in fact the document, the only document on which you rely to act as you do in this document doesn't create a basis for it. It's to me, it's yet another instance where you, in particular, have misused your powers to go where you are not authorized to go. There's no legitimate basis to do this. Do you want to comment?
I have no comment.
At paragraph 16, you do state that you know Major General Khan as a general based at Khan Intelligence Head Office. Before I became the investigating director in March, I engaged with him in meetings with other stakeholders. So we are now before you joined IDEC. Did you have any other relationship besides that you describe at paragraph 16 with General Khan, personal or otherwise?
I had gotten to know him quite well. At a stage, we engaged often on all kinds of issues that didn't necessarily relate to work. He was very affable, and I got along with him. So I would talk to him as well outside of meetings. It wasn't confined to meetings. That's an important distinction to draw, because your paragraph 16 seems to suggest that your engagements with him prior to 2022 were in meetings and with other stakeholders only. It's too restrictive what's said in 16 regard being head to your response now. And we can add it.
No, the record, it's there on record. So I say, we clarified that you had this professional relationship as you described in 16, but you also had a personal relationship.
Yes, I did.
You say you then you have a specific timeline to it. Say before I became investigating director in March 2022. Let's get past March 2022. the relationship, as you have now clarified, with General Khan, did it change? What's the relevance of using that marker, March 22, when you became ID, to speaking to the relationship you have with General Khan? It suggests, as I read it, that it drastically changed from March 2022. Am I reading it correctly? And yet, I take into consideration what you say at your paragraph 19. You say you have had limited contact with him and have had no contact with him approximately the past year and a half. It's now 2026, but your cutoff date there is March 22. I don't know, where were you on April 2022 until a year and a half before 2026? So far as your relationship is concerned. Thanks.
So if we're taking it from March 2022, I continue to talk to General Khan.
Yes.
It is only late in 2024 when this issue of Mr. Murray arose, because Mr. Murray came to see me personally. It had been a very painful engagement. And it was then that I raised the issue with him, and I slowly started to withdraw. I didn't stop talking to him completely, but if I have to cast my mind back, that's why I say past year and a half, which would have been from very early 2025.
Okay. And you say that in 2024, after you met Mr. Murray, you started to withdraw. I take it from a closer relationship with General Khan.
Yes.
If I may, why? What is the relevance of that matter to the change in your relationship with General Khan?
Here I get to engage a victim who's lost his father and his brother in a very violent way.
Yes.
It is very difficult, commissioners, when you are sitting with a child who is now parentless and brotherless. He is raw of emotion sitting in front of you. But it's not just the emotion. It is the complaint about the police not doing their work. And he sat there hoping that we were able to help him. And it was unfortunate. It is not in our mandate. But it touched me in a different way, in a very humane way. And it made what he was saying more real. I wasn't reading this in papers. I wasn't hearing stories. I was hearing from a child. Well, he's a young man, but I was hearing this from a child. And there is no way when you have that engagement that you are able to just shut it down and, okay, this is what you go and do, and then you just carry on. It had an impact. And I think it was for those reasons. It really had a humane impact that I was unable to assist him. And the allegation he made was very serious. And so he was accompanied by a friend, and I told him and the friend they would definitely have to take this up with the head of detectives at the time.
So then I understand, just to wrap up then, your relationship with General Khan was adversely influenced by the allegations made to you as regards his alleged involvement by Mr. Murray. That's what altered the course of your relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he was explicit about where he felt Mr. Khan was involved and persons he was involved with. It's names I'm prepared to write, but he made very pertinent referrals.
Yes. And do you know whether he took up your advice just as a matter of interest? I think you said you suggested that he engaged SAP's organized crime Gauteng.
Yes, there was a time when he did make contact with me again to indicate that the detectives had allocated a new team.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it ended up being to his satisfaction, as I am aware that there haven't been arrests made on the matter, but I am aware, Commissioner Khumalo, that he did follow up that, and I'm aware that they actually had a proper engagement with him. I'm not sure where that engagement is now, given there's no arrests in the matter.
Understood. And lastly, at your paragraph 20, this
in response to...
Maybe before you do 20, just so I make sure I understand, that paragraph 16 and following, where you say you continue to speak to General Khan after March 2022, does that mean you socialized with him? What does that mean? Because you could be talking about work, you could be talking about family, friends, you could be meeting for lunch. What exactly do you mean when you say you continue to talk to him outside of meetings?
So we would chat on WhatsApp, or we would talk to one another if we saw one another, but we didn't socialize, in the word socialize, so we didn't go to lunch, visit one another, etc.
But you had non-work related interactions.
Non-work related interactions.
Thank you.
Yes.
I might be mistaken, but I think at some point we had evidence that you attended his 50th or 55th birthday party.
That is
Was it after this date?
No, sir.
When was that?
Oh, I speak under correction. I don't know when he turned 50. It might have been in 2020 or 2019. But it was, he invited my husband who worked at Crime Intelligence. And when we got there, most people who had been invited with their partners or spouses. And we attended the birthday, attended the dinner. We probably were the most ungracious guests because it was very busy. And as soon as we had dinner, I said to my husband, can we leave? And we didn't even greet the host. We had left, but we did attend it. My husband having been invited, and I attended. Delete the not, yes. I think my cannot not. It's either my cannot or it is not. Thank you, Commissioner. I cannot discuss the evidence that will be led when the trial of Lieutenant General Khumalo and his co-accused gets underway, or the merits of the criminal case against them. The sub judice rule precludes me from doing so. Be that as it may, I may indicate that there was a series of matters referred to IDAC in terms of the Section 27 by 1, Mr. Adams. When the whole picture is presented, they include the following. 25.1. The manipulation of recruitment processes and appointment of persons without suitable qualifications into senior strategic posts in the criminal intelligence unit. 25.2. The bypassing of vetting processes, which, among others, manifested itself in the failure to apply for and get top secret clearances where required. A standard requirement for crime intelligence unit personnel, especially senior appointments. And at 25.3, the appointments of persons not suitably qualified and or experienced as a form of gratification for their collusion later in the looting of state funds, for example, the purchase of properties. 26. As I indicate somewhere towards the end of this affidavit, I intend to apply for leave to testify before this commission. If leave to do so is granted, I will get an opportunity to expand on the issues to which reference is made above. State capture is a type of systemic political corruption in which private interests significantly influence a state's decision-making processes to advantage and or benefit of certain individuals. 27. When one looks at all the cases referred to IDAC by Mr. Adams, they depict the capture of systems and processes for private interests by the head of CI and other senior managers. This too is an issue I intend to testify about should I be granted leave to. 28. The picture that has emerged is that the appointment and installation of certain persons in certain positions within the Crime Intelligence Unit, CIU, by Lieutenant General Khumalo and his co-accused persons helped them strategically to access funding without following proper processes. This is because their token appointments were would not stop them from their unlawful acts.
Sorry, you refer to persons in the plural. The picture that has emerged is that the appointment and installation of certain persons in certain positions, and it goes on. The only complaint I'm aware of, I may be mistaken, is a complaint about the appointment of Brigadier Mukwele. Are there any other appointments in respect of which there are complaints?
So the appointments are in terms of other persons that are not in that specific leg of investigation.
So there are other names besides Brigadier Mukwele?
Yes, but not in that specific leg, but arising out of the complaint by Mr. Adams.
Sorry, maybe you're missing the chair's question. Was there a referral to IDEC in respect of other people or other positions?
When we got the referral from Mr. Adams, and it was given to the prosecutors together with those dockets, they were able to identify that there are issues relating to vetting and appointments. The appointment of Brigadier Mukwele was one of them, but I think there is one other matter where the issue of an appointment is also part of the complaint, part of the investigation that was dealt with.
You're still not answering, Advocate Johnson. Was there a referral to IDEC in respect of other positions other than Ms. Mukwele or Brigadier Mukwele?
Not out of this, no.
So to the extent that IDEC went and looked at other people who were quote-unquote strategically placed, it's IDEC that decided to do that. There was no referral saying there are people who are strategically placed within crime intelligence. Investigate how they were placed there.
Commissioner Khumalo, to explain perhaps as follows, I don't know whether I'm using that, it's not a complaint about an appointment, as in a new appointment. Perhaps it is a complaint about the placement of a person in a position that arose out of the non-compliance with the vetting positions. So it's not, the only complaint about an actual appointment was the Mukwele, that the allegation is she should not have been appointed.
So then there is no complaint to IDEC about appointment and installation of certain persons, plural.
No, it is a person.
Person.
I correct myself, thank you.
And that person is Brigadier Mukwele.
That was the only one that I am aware of that was referred to as an appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Please proceed.
I now turn to the charges against Lieutenant General Khumalo and co-accused. Capital B, the charges against Lieutenant General S.D. Khumalo. Paragraph 10. A charge sheet is a public document. Thus, as opposed to regurgitating its content, I should do no less or more than to refer the Commission to the charge sheet. A true copy of his charge sheet is attached here too and marked AJ1. Paragraph 11. The charge sheet concerns not only Lieutenant General Khumalo, but his co-accused as well. In the charge sheet, I emphasize and draw the attention of the Commission to the charges which each of the accused persons, Lieutenant General Khumalo in particular, is facing. The Commission will note that they are facing, among others, 11.1. Contraventions of the provisions of Section 4A of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, 12 of 2004. 11.2. Contraventions of the provisions of Section 4B of the Prevention and Combating of Corrupt Activities Act, again 12 of 2004. And 11.3, fraud and other related offences. Paragraph C. The arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo. The evidence before this commission is that Lieutenant General Khumalo was arrested in a dramatic fashion. Nothing can be further from the truth. It is important that I address this aspect as well. Paragraph 13. Lieutenant General Khumalo was arrested on 26 June 2025 at Oliver Reginald Tambo International Airport, Otia. Only 2 senior criminal investigators in IDAC, senior criminal investigators within IDAC, were tasked with the exercise and effected his arrest. It was Mr. Sunil Belochan and Ayan Dambalo, in brackets, the investigators. If I may then pause here, yes. Commissioners, and Advocate Selo, to go to the last statement, statement number 3.
You deal with that correction at your paragraph 10.1?
That is correct. So paragraph 14 as it reads in the original.
Before we do so, what do you suggest? Are you going to amend some parts of that paragraph, of the current paragraph 14 of the main statement, or are you proposing an entire deletion of that paragraph and substitution?
An entire deletion of that paragraph, as well as paragraph 15.
Thank you.
Because they should read correctly, and as they currently stand in the original affidavit, they do not read correctly.
Okay, then let's deal with the first.
Paragraph 14 of the original affidavit to be deleted and to read as it does in paragraph 10.1 of the third statement. I say in 10.1, paragraph 14 must be replaced and should read as follows. Lieutenant General Khumalo was arrested after he had landed at the Oliver Reginald Tambo International Airport, Otia. I do not recall where he was traveling from. I was informed that at the time, his co-accused had already been invited to report to the Brooklyn police station. That is the correction.
Noted.
I therefore ask as well that paragraph 15 of the original affidavit, Commissioners, be deleted and to read as it does in paragraph 10.2 of the last affidavit, wherein I state paragraph 15 must be replaced and should read as follows. The investigators went to Otia to inform General Khumalo that there was a warrant for his arrest and for him to hand himself over. They had a warrant of arrest for him. Warrants of arrest had also been sought and obtained for his co-accused before they were requested to hand themselves over at the Brooklyn SEPS. Those are the corrections, Commissioners, to paragraphs 14 and 15 of the original affidavit.
Noted. Thank you. We may proceed with your statement.
If I could just have some water. Thank you. Paragraph 16. Upon finding him at Otia, the 2 investigators explained who they were, why they were there, why he was sought, and what his rights were. They then asked Lieutenant General S.D. Khumalo to accompany them to Brooklyn Police Station in Pretoria. He cooperated and was taken there. There was nothing dramatic about it. 17. At all times during his arrest, Lieutenant General Khumalo's security detail was with him. He was not threatened and was accorded all the respect that could be accorded a person of his profile. On the way from Otia to Brooklyn Police Station, the investigators had occasion to stop and get something to drink from a filling station at the request of Lieutenant General Khumalo for himself. Paragraph 18. Once Lieutenant General Khumalo had been processed at Brooklyn Police Station, he personally thanked Chief Investigator Perumal for treating him and the other co-accused in a respectful and dignified manner. This talks to anything but the conduct of a unit that is motivated by ulterior motives other than to address alleged criminality. Paragraph 19. I would be remiss if I do not dismiss the suggestion that Lieutenant General Khumalo was arrested because he was the coordinator of the Political Killings Task Team, in brackets, PKTT. This suggestion is anything but true. It is false as it is unfortunate. The truth is that IDAC was investigating Lieutenant General Khumalo in his capacity as the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence for alleged unlawful conduct that manifested itself in the execution of his duties in that capacity. Paragraph 20. The fact that Lieutenant General Khumalo also held another portfolio in relation to the PKTT was not within our knowledge. At no stage was I, as the head of IDAC, aware that Lieutenant General Khumalo had anything to do with the PKTT, let alone being its convener. In any event, even had I been aware of same, such would have been irrelevant because of the reasons for his arrest. I have attached it to this affidavit and therefore placed his charge sheet at the disposal of this commission. Paragraph D. The charges fall within the mandate of the IDAC. 21. The allegations concerning Lieutenant General Khumalo and co-accused came to the attention of IDAC by way of a referral that was made in terms of Section 27 of the NPA Act. 22. Section 27 of the NPA Act provides that, quote, if any person has reasonable grounds to suspect that a specified offense has been or is being committed, or that an attempt has been made or is being made to commit such an offense, he or she may report the matter in question to the head of an investigating directorate by means of an affidavit or affirmed declaration specifying A, the nature of the suspicion, B, the grounds on which the suspicion is based, and C, all other relevant information known to the declarant, close quote. Paragraph 23. The referral was made by Mr. Fadil Adams, in brackets, Mr. Adams. It was not treated any differently. It was supervised and overseen like any other.
What do you mean by supervised and overseen?
When a Section 27 matter comes in, they sometimes come directly to the office of the investigating director, or the investigating directorate has a head of operations, which is Mr. Matthew Sissoko, and Section 27s may go there. The matters are considered either first by the ID, but given that these matters may be voluminous, my office almost invariably refers them to Mr. Sissoko for his perusal of the matter and for a summation on whether or not it falls within the IDAC mandate. He will then bring the entire matter to myself for me to then peruse the matter, consider his recommendation. If the matter falls within the mandate of IDAC, that matter is then, commissioners, allocated to a team. And when I say team, there are various teams in IDAC.